Hey, and welcome back to another creepy TikTok. If you're enjoying these videos, please make sure that you're commenting, and subscribing. Once we reach 100 subscribers, we're going to be having a giveaway, so make sure that you're in it. Alright, enjoy your video.
In 1987, a house in Atlanta mysteriously started bleeding from the walls. This is Minnie and William Winston, and they were both an elderly couple living in their home in Atlanta. On one day in September, Minnie had been showering, and when she stepped out, she discovered blood on the floor. Initially, she thought it might have been some sort of small animal or that she potentially hurt herself and didn't notice, but she went down to her husband to let him know. They both went back upstairs to the bathroom to inspect the blood, but they couldn't figure out where it was coming from. However, William wasn't satisfied with just not knowing what this was or where it was coming from, so he started looking throughout the house. And believe it or not, he ended up discovering blood seeping from the ceiling and the walls throughout majority of the house, including the basement. Absolutely horrified about what they had just discovered, Winston calls the police right away. Police do a search of the entire house looking for any signs of a break and enter. They also ask the couple if they've had any recent visitors lately, and they both tell them no. Police also couldn't figure out where this blood was coming from. It was completely confusing to them, and they also thought it might have been an animal. So they also decided to take a sample back to the lab to get it tested. And believe it or not, the blood that was coming from the walls turned out to be human. They were able to determine that it was type O blood, which was very odd because both Winnie and her husband were type A. Of course, word got out about what was going on in the house, and it was all over the headlines. Many people were speculating that there was some sort of secret homicide that took place in the house, while other people thought it might have been just rust and water and mud that mixed together. One of the strange things is that both Winnie and Winston said that they had never experienced any sort of paranormal activity in the home. They had been living there for over 20 years, and that was the only time something strange ever happened. Another police theory is that the couple did this on purpose as a hoax in order to gain attention. However, for a while, they also thought that the couple's daughter did this to her parents in order to have them mentally incapacitated and taken away for her own financial gain. But none of these theories were ever proven, and to this day, the Bleeding House remains a complete mystery.
Lake City Quiet Pills Part 4. So what was hidden in the code on the Lake City Quiet Pills image hosting website? Well, to start, there was a rather familiar catchphrase: dispensing Lake City Quiet Pills to lousy bastards in need of permanent rest since 1968. There were also paragraphs hidden in the HTML code that sounded a lot like violent job postings. Some examples: immediate need, fluent Korean dialect accents, details after contact. Another example: Angel has job listings for EU and Asia. We aren't sending anyone to ME. Now the best guess here would be that ME is Middle East. But most curious is the name Angel appearing. There's another name that appears, a new name, Shade. But could Angel be 26, Angel 26, User 26, the same person that posted their condolences for Milo or Religion of Peace? Were these military contractors or black ops? And could Lake City Quiet Pills be ammunition? A reference to the Lake City ammunition plant, which produces 1.4 billion rounds of ammo.
This is the most disturbing disappearance caught on camera. Lars Mittank was a 28-year-old from Berlin. In June 2014, he was heading off on his first lad's holiday to Bulgaria. They were staying at Golden Sands just outside of Varna. Now the holiday was going well, but just prior to their departure, the day before they left, they went to the pub to watch a World Cup game. During the match, Lars got into an argument with another group of German tourists. After the argument, the two groups then left separately, and Lars headed to McDonald's with his friends. He waited outside for them as they got food, but when they returned, he disappeared. He reappeared the next day and told them he'd been beaten up by 4 men hired by the Germans at the bar. He'd got an injured jaw and a ruptured eardrum. Now, due to his injuries, a doctor advised that he didn't fly home. He was also prescribed an antibiotic, cefprozil. Lars's friends offered to stay with him, but he insisted that they got their flights home. Lars checked out of the original hotel that he'd been staying in and checked into the Hotel Color Varna because it was cheaper and near to the airport. Now, when he was left to stay on his own, he began to get quite paranoid. He called his mum Sandra in the night and whispered to her that people were trying to kill or rob him and she should cancel his credit cards. CCTV footage captured him wandering up and down the hotel hallways, checking out of windows and hiding in a lift for a long period of time. At 1 a.m. he was seen leaving the hotel and he returned about an hour later, and we have no idea what he did in this time. He called his mum again, saying that the people who were after him were getting closer. He was seen at Varna Airport on July the 8th. He went to see the doctor at the airport to check he was okay to fly, and apparently his behaviour was erratic. The doctor said he was very nervous and he was asking a lot of questions about his medication. The airport was under construction and a construction worker walked in during the consultation. This caused Lars to get very anxious and run out of the room. He shouted, "I don't want to die here, I have to get out of here." He sprinted out of the airport and was seen climbing over a barbed wire fence. He ran into a field and was seen sprinting off in the direction of a forest near a highway. This was the last known sighting of Lars. His family hired a private detective to try and get answers, but they haven't had any luck. Now, I hate to do this, but I'm getting very frustrated because my 10-minute feature has been taken away from me. I have loads of theories about what's happened to Lars, but I can't fit them all into this video, which is really frustrating. I've done a massive deep dive on my YouTube channel and my link is in my bio.
This terrifying video was caught on a Ring camera in Henderson, Nevada.
What? Help! Help me! Help me! Help me! Help! Help! Somebody help me! Help! Stop! Neighbors! Stop! Neighbors! Neighbors!
This is really scary. If anybody recognizes this couple, please contact the Henderson, Nevada Police Department immediately. I hope she's found safe.
This is how AI can destroy the music industry. AI is growing so fast that it's starting to dominate most of the world. People are even concerned that soon they'll be taking over most jobs. Now I can definitely see this happening in the future. But right now, one job is already starting to get taken over by AI. AI has already been able to take big artists like Drake, Travis Scott, and The Weeknd's voice. And believe it or not, the AI is successfully doing this by making viral songs.
Heart on My Sleeve, now released just a few days ago. It's already hit 9 million views on TikTok and 250,000 streams on Spotify.
And this is the first AI artist that got signed to an actual record deal. So what does this mean for the future of music? Well, big artists like Drake is already in competition with AI. And I ain't gonna lie, y'all, AI Drake is actually dangerous. Because believe it or not, a lot of AI Drake songs are actually good. And if you go on YouTube, AI Drake already has a whole bunch of albums out and is doing really good numbers on all of them. I made a full video reacting to AI Drake's biggest album. And the crazy part is this album features the AI Travis Scott and the AI Weeknd. And I'm letting y'all know right now, this album is actually crazy. If you want to know what AI Drake's album sounds like, this link will take you directly to that video. But let me know what you guys think in the comment section. Will AI take over music and other jobs? Or is this all just temporary? I love y'all, man. Stay conscious.
It's not moving. Oh, gross. I am never eating pork again.
Another episode of What Could Potentially Kill You. Let's talk about the pork tapeworm that causes brain cysts, also known as neurocysticercosis. It's important to know that this tapeworm is transmitted through pigs, so eating raw pork could cause you to have this terrible infection and it could be fatal. It's important to know that this tapeworm is transmitted through human is through an intermediate host, the pig. So the pigs consume feces that contain these eggs of tapeworms and they grow in their intestine, essentially reproducing them. And when you eat raw pork, you could potentially be a host for these tapeworms as well. And they go and they cling to your intestine and they start hatching larvae. These larvae or cysts could go into your brain, causing serious infection and symptoms. So it's important to note that oftentimes it might not even go to the brain. It might stay in the stomach for many years, causing you to have nausea, vomiting, diarrhea. And then eventually, many years later, even 30 years later, you could start having neurological symptoms, such as headaches, vision changes, dizziness, any type of weakness, as well as seizures or even death. There's been only a few cases that it's been fatal, but it's important to note that my recommendation is to avoid any raw pork. Make sure you're cooking your pork because of this, even though it's rare, infection.